Right, so today I want to think about who's getting in where on pDAI's journey to $1. I asked Grok this question. Do people prefer to speculate on an investment that will yield a 100x gain or a 200x gain? And this is what it said. When considering whether people prefer to speculate on an investment that could yield a 100x gain versus one that could yield a 200x gain, several factors come into play based on human psychology and economic theory. And these factors are risk and reward perception, probability of success, investors' risk tolerance, market sentiment and trends, experience and knowledge, and diversification. Let's have a look at these. Risk and reward perception. Generally, investments promising higher returns, like a 200x gain, are perceived as having a higher risk. This is the kind of area that we're at currently with pDAI. According to the principles discussed in various references, speculation involves betting on high-risk investments with the potential for significant gains. Does that sound familiar? A 200x gain might attract more speculative behavior due to the promise of enormous returns, even if the probability of achieving such gains is lower. Probability of success. Speculators often focus on the potential upside more than the probability of achieving it. That's interesting. However, the higher the potential gain, the less likely it might be to occur. Yeah, we'll look at that in a minute. A 200x gain would generally be seen as less probable than a 100x gain, which might deter some investors due to the perceived risk versus reward ratio. Yeah. Investors' risk tolerance. Speculators with a high risk tolerance might be drawn to the possibility of a 200x gain, whereas those with a moderate risk tolerance might find a 100x gain compelling enough while still within their comfort zone. I wonder if hexagons are like the former or the latter in that one. Market sentiment and trends. Market trends, hype, and sentiment can heavily influence speculative behavior. I believe that. And where are we now in the market cycle? If there's a trend or a narrative around a certain investment potentially offering 200x gains, like what we have right here, speculators might be swayed by FOMO to prefer these high gain investments. Well, I never. Experience and knowledge. More experienced investors or speculators might prefer the 100x gain if they believe it's more achievable with better understanding of market dynamics, or if they have had previous success in similar investments. And anyone who did a 10,000x or thereabouts 4 or 5 years ago, they've got some interesting experience, haven't they? Less experienced speculators might chase the higher 200x gain, drawn by the dream of massive quick returns. All right. Diversification, the last one here. Some might not choose strictly between one or the other, but might diversify their speculative investments, putting some in at 100x potential and others at 200x, balancing the portfolio between the higher probability and smaller gains and lower probability and larger gains. So they might actually be laddering in as the price goes up, which is contrary to how most people would normally choose to DCA. Okay, so we can see the preference can vary widely among individuals. Psychologically, many might be tempted by the allure of a 200x gain due to the human tendency to dream big, especially in speculative markets. And we're rather speculative, aren't we? Economically, rational choice might lean towards the 100x if it's perceived as a more probable outcome, aligning with risk management strategies. What are those? Where one seeks the highest return for the least risk. However, is pDAI a special case? Normally, we have a kind of a continuum where at the one end you have a high probability, low gains, and then low probability, high gains. However, ladies and gentlemen, remember we are in the presence of a rather special duck. Furthermore, we're talking about a stable coin, and this is a very special narrative. Imagine something that's going to go up and up and up, make massive X's, and then hold peg. So you're not going to be sweating over when to sell. It's pretty genius, I've got to say. Right, so I've got a chart here. Let's have a look at these different zones and where people fit in. The red zone, like more than 500x away from the peg. This is strictly for the people at the extremes of the bell curve. After that, 500 to 100x, and these are just numbers I've pulled out of the air. I've got the believer, the one who understands enough and wants those gains enough to jump in when a lot of others wouldn't. 100x is a key psychological level, you might say, because it's a cent now and it's on its way to $1. People can get their head around 100x a lot more than they can around, say, 350x or something like that. So the next people to come in, this big zone, these are just your bog standard crypto bros who are looking for a chance to make some gains. And the last ones, well, at this point, you're dealing with a stable coin that is a bit undervalued. So this is the mid-curvers who are going to say, oh, look at that, I got a chance to make some money. But in fact, because of their lack of testicular fortitude, they've actually missed out on the big gains that was had by the other people before. So when we look at this now as a kind of a chart, you can see the number of X's to peg against the probability that it will happen. And it basically goes up like this, right? So the higher the probability it's going to reach peg, that goes up with the proximity to reaching that peg. So it could possibly snowball in volume as it heads towards that inevitable amount. So this arrow is basically confidence. And I don't know, I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I'd imagine what's going to happen on this this voyage we're on right now with pDAI is that confidence is just going to grow continually until we actually get to that peg, which would be pretty awesome, gotta say. All right, well, kudos to whoever it is that came up with this idea, the idea of giving the small investors the chance to get in at the bottom without just starting off a stable coin as some massive VC funded project. This really is in the true spirit of crypto, and so I've got to thank him for his vision and giving everyone the opportunity. So yeah, we are now on Quite a journey. Who knows what's going to happen? It could all fail. But whatever. Don't stop believing. Cheers.